And it was at this point that I realized that I wasn't convinced. And to me, it seemed like there may have been a lot more to this relationship than what we've been led to believe.
Everybody.
Hello, you.
Yep. Welcome back to another episode of the Macaroni Rascals, where we are giving you the content that you did not ask for.
Who is you?
You is you. Right?
Okay, that was my way of saying introduce yourself.
Who is I?
Who is you?
Okay, I is Steve, also known as Dubro here on the podcast, coming at you on this fine Sunday afternoon out here at Studio Jeebs, our favorite place to get this podcast recorded. I'm sitting here with my co-host and sister,
aka Okie Dokie.
Okie Dokie, my sis Okie Dokie, which is it's the name we're kind of floating around right now for sis's Guidette.
My Guidette nickname.
Yeah.
So where'd you get this? Where did this come from?
Sis, I was just kind of thinking about all the stuff that you've just kind of accepted and just gone along with.
Tolerated?
The podcast idea, various times you let one of us siblings live with you, and your attitude toward it is just like, okie dokie, I guess we're doing that now.
In fact, Steve just brought up an idea that he had about possibly knocking some bricks out of one of my walls and putting in a doggy door for a dog that does not live here and I do not own.
Yeah, that's Pittywits, by the way, the love of my life.
The family dog.
Yeah, love that little girl, and I was just thinking of, make life a little bit easier for her, knock out a couple of bricks down there at the first story out in the backyard just to make things a little easier in and out for her.
In my house, where she does not live.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that would be good for you. That's one less thing you have to do. Go to the door, open it, let her in.
She
let her
barely
out.
Invited here as is. I don't want her moving in.
She's a great dog. I don't know why you have such an apprehension towards her. She's perfect.
Okay.
Anyway, that's where I'm coming up with Okie Dokie, my sis Okie Dokie, because she's just kind of Okie Dokie about everything. Just kind of lets it happen and just kind of lets the cards fall where they will, so
Makes
to speak.
Makes sense.
How you feeling about that?
I like it. Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad for a little first draft.
Yeah, a little first draft. We'll see how it sticks if it goes around. Maybe that'll just be an internal thing here. Sis is holding up her finger.
Can we pause for a minute because I think I need a little more volume in this.
You need some more volume? It just did not make sense without this part. So, here it is.
All right. You can cut all that out.
And we're back. And maybe I'll cut it out. Maybe I'll leave it in. The little behind the scenes things is always kind of nice. If I don't talk about it too much, then I'll have to leave it in for the rest of this to make sense.
Yeah.
Boop, little pause so I can have some
We can cut
editing
all that
room.
out.
Yeah.
We can cut all that out. Okay.
Anyway, we're back here getting you some more content out here for your, listening
Pleasure.
I guess that's something that you could say.
Your commute.
Yeah.
Your jogging. Background noise. You're bored at work.
Bored at work is a good one.
Procrastinating studying.
I am fortunate enough to have a job where I've got generally a couple of hours in the day where I can listen to like a podcast or audiobook or something like that while I'm doing the rest of my work without it like kind of getting in the way. Most recently, I've been listening to Dracula.
Interesting.
On Audible.
Nice.
This podcast brought to you by Audible. Not really, but
get your listen on.
Maybe one day. Really great book. That book was written in like 1897, something like that. And it's kind of shocking how much it
carries over.
Yeah, still holds up.
She's a classic.
Being a book that's like 100 years old or something
Mary
like that.
Shelley.
No, Bram Stoker.
Ah, okay.
Mary Shelley wrote Frankenstein.
Oh, got it.
So in the
same realm.
Same kind of. They were in the doing the same thing. I don't. Oh my God. I don't know when Frankenstein was written, but anyway.
I was so confident about that.
You were, yeah. You didn't blink or think twice about it.
You slashed that right down.
Anyway, sis, give me the rundown. What do we got going on today?
Today we're talking about episode 8, and it's called One Shot.
Mm-hmm.
Before we get into all that, though, we just wanted to remind you guys that you can watch along with us. I think that this podcast gets better if you watch the episode first and then come listen to us, or even vice versa. You can listen to us first and then go watch the episode. You can get all of these episodes. The whole first season is available on Hulu, Apple TV, Prime, Paramount Plus.
All the good ones.
Like MTV, I'm trying to run through. It's pretty much available anywhere. And you probably have a subscription to one of those things where you can get it streaming. So, also don't forget to follow us on Instagram. What's the handle, Stub?
The Macaroni Rascals podcast.
Follow us there. We post a lot of content that you don't ask for. It's pretty funny stuff, actually. You can get little highlights of the podcast that's coming up. Also, we've got some new beats that are introing our podcast and outroing the podcast. Those beats are by our cousin, the one and only, at New Orleans_cowboy on Insta. Go follow him. He puts out some good stuff for you.
That's right.
Thanks to our cousin for that.
Thanks, bro.
And that's pretty much all I have on the housekeeping front. So
nice.
We can dive right in if you want.
This one is episode 8. Of season 1. We're getting real close to the end here, sis. We got one more episode to go.
Yeah.
To wrap up this entire thing, and you can really feel
we're not that close to being done.
It's episode 9 is the last one.
Episode 9 is the last one? I thought we had 11.
I thought we had 11 too.
Hold
but
on.
I was looking when I was watching it, the episode today, it said 9 episodes.
Wait a minute. You're blowing my mind right now if this is true, because I swore we had
Yeah, take a look.
Oh my God. No.
Am I speaking out of turn? I'm right.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
We do have one more episode after this. It's episode 9. That's How the Shore Goes. That's going to be the season finale.
Yeah.
I did not realize we were that close already. After that is the reunion episode. And then I even think there's one more post-production episode.
Yeah, I think that's
after that.
Where you at now kind of a thing. So I don't know how we'll do those episodes.
So that's where the number 11 was coming from.
That's right.
I was looping those two in, which, I mean, we could cover the reunion and all that.
I think we'll play it by ear.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. So we are almost done with this season. Which has been a wild ride.
It has been a wild ride. They've been in the Shore House for 27 days at this point in the season. Yeah. Somebody drops that number at some point through the season. We've been recording this podcast for a year feels like?
Well, okay. I didn't know it was that much of a burden.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of work, turns out, for a podcast. Man. It's
a
lot. For everyone who has a podcast and does this, I commend
the ones especially that are way more highly produced than ours. Yeah. God bless ye.
Yeah, lots of it's a lot of work.
Skills,
it's a lot of work, but it's a whole lot of fun.
It's very fun.
Yeah, I like doing this kind of stuff. Hey, sis, what'd you think about those little blurbs I put into the last podcast?
Steve took it upon himself to bleep out my son's name. I won't say it here because that was it just came out at you in the middle of that episode. He had a very custom and unique bleep that he did to cover my son's name.
Yeah, I was getting...
Which I'm pretty sure we've said it in many previous episodes, so I'm pretty sure we're not bleeping it out for anyone.
Maybe. Yeah, that was kind of one of those things where I was editing and it was 12 o'clock at night or something like that, and I was gonna go in and try to find the noises, and I think I got one noise
you did.
edited in there, but
it was like a boing.
Yeah, but just the amount of work that it takes to get in there, I literally just split the clip, hit record, and shouted. I'm in my home office. I'm shouting that. I'm sure my neighbors heard me screaming that stuff in there. Just a little bonus for you if you made it that far into the episode. There's a couple of them in there. Maybe you just heard another one. Maybe not.
You did.
Okay, so anyway, let's get back to the going into the episode here. Sis, you got a little bit of rundown info for us here?
Yep. So this is episode 8. It's titled One Shot. It aired January 14th of 2010. The summer's winding down, but the drama doesn't stop. Polly's got a stalker, and a fight lands another roommate in jail.
I don't want to bury the lead or anything here, but the biggest takeaway that I have from this episode is Danielle. Because I feel like this whole season I've just been waiting to get to this.
Next to Paula Picard, who we met in the last episode, Paula is one of Mike's, on and off kind of shore girlfriends. I have to say, I also really like Danielle as a secondary cast character. I think she gets kind of the short end of the stick in this whole thing. I had done a little digging to figure out exactly what her story was
No way.
outside of Jersey Shore.
Okay.
And we'll get to it. I made
Okay.
a couple of notes a little later, and we'll get into it later. But I do just want to say, next to Paula, she is one of my favorite secondary cast members.
This episode opens with Vinny and Mike talking about the robbery that was committed in the last episode. This episode really highlights the tension between Mike and Vinny.
Yes.
That seems to be kind of one of the bigger points that they keep kind of circling back to. So we open up on that whole thing, get the recap of the JWoww fight and what was going on there. And I think really what this episode is doing, how it opens up, is it's letting everyone know that tensions are building within the Shore House. Like, these people have been locked in this place for 27 days, 30 days at this point. Everyone's starting to get sick of each other. That's what it felt like to me for the intro of the episode, is just kind of getting you into that mindset of there's beef going on.
Yeah.
And we're going to explore all those little kind of squabbles that are kind of going on. Is that the impression that you got?
For sure. We're definitely at the peak of this mountain. All these other episodes have been the climb up towards building this tension within the house and amongst the cast. We're definitely at the peak of this mountain, and we're starting to head down pretty quickly on the other side. So we do pick up on the same night as where the last episode left off. They're in the hotel room suite. They replay the slow-mo footage of Jenny hitting Mike square in the jaw, and it's just as satisfying as the first time we saw it. Vinny's quote for this footage is, just the power that was behind it was like a freaking video game. And I have to agree, seeing it back in slow-mo is just his whole face shifts because of the contact of her fist against his jaw.
Yeah, it's like seeing a slow-mo punch in a boxing match, or kind of head jerk movement. I mean, it's the exact same. Because
even the face that Mike makes when he realizes, ow, that actually kind of hurt. His full jaw just drops open and he grabs his mouth. Ow.
She got such a good amount of momentum going into that. I mean, she really landed
because
so
Vinny
solidly.
Was holding her.
In on that.
He made the center of her base where she could just literally swing around behind her.
There was almost a round 2 that happened before the security stepped in. Did you see that? Because Jenny almost went back for him.
Well, she's walking back to her room, and Mike continues antagonizing her behind her, as she's walking away. So to her back, he's still antagonizing her, telling her to go to sleep. You bleep, 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 bleep. I can't even guess at what profanities he's yelling at her. She immediately turns around and starts charging at him. Vinny again steps in, and he's holding her back. Mike is leaning on the back of a chair, acting like he ain't scared, as the production security team comes rushing in again behind him. He obviously knows he's protected if she gets any closer to him. So she manages to corner him into a bedroom doorway as Vinny and Polly are holding her back. But Mike is, still running his mouth out from behind the safety of these two big security guys. And Mike goes, later as he's rehashing what happened to Sam and Ron, who were asleep in one of the suite bedrooms, he's just is she a man? Do I hit her? Or is she a girl? He's I'll throw her out like the trash she is.
Yeah, Mike cannot stop talking after this, and it just keeps on going on and on. He really does not shut up after he's essentially humiliated for getting punched by a girl. I think that's one of those things that Mike's doing to try to make up for it, something like that.
So, totally. Well, in Ron's confessional on this section, he basically affirms, what we've been thinking, in that everyone is over everyone at this point. Feelings are out the window. Pleasantries are done. There's a shot of Ron laying in bed, and this is completely a side note, by the way. He has the hairiest upper thighs I've ever seen.
Really?
As Mike is like in there telling him what happened just now, Ron's shorts are like riding up so high and you can see like a full shot of his upper thigh. The whole thing is like a carpet.
Really? He's got hairy legs?
Yeah.
Because I feel like we've seen him in shorts before, but I've never noticed
never
that.
Never that high, but the whole thing is a carpet.
Are you saying that, is there like a hard stop where the hair starts and then there's no hair?
Full all the way up as far as we could see up the shorts.
The upper thigh up, you're
From
talking
your
hair.
kneecap up.
What about the rest of the leg from the foot to the knee?
It's all hairy.
Really?
Yeah. Because we never see that part of their bodies.
I didn't notice that.
It caught my eye immediately. I was like, whoa.
I did not notice that.
All the way up, even on the inside.
Really? You would think that somebody like that would get that trimmed down. So that's why it's a little surprising to me.
Yeah. Anyways, total side note, has nothing to do with any of this. Jenny and Snooks are talking in the other room, and Jen is at this point contemplating leaving the shore. It's possible it could be drunk talk. I mean,
yeah, probably.
She's pretty wasted this night.
She is. She's pretty sloppy.
Yeah, she's just kind of
she's
feeling bad
slurring
about
the words.
Yeah, she's feeling bad about the whole situation. So she's like, I don't need this, like I'm over it at this point.
And I think that is just all talk because Jenny doesn't strike me as the kind of girl who would leave when there's only a week left in the whole thing, which Snooki says.
Right.
She's like, are you dumb? There's only a week left. So I think that's just drunk talk. And Jenny's not a quitter.
So we're at the next day. They pack up their hotel room and they head back to Seaside. And as Jenny is walking inside the house, Mike is just like death glaring at her.
Yeah.
You can tell she's just really not feeling well. She's super hungover. She ignores him the whole time. There's no need to, stir up anything. They both know that they're pissed at one another. Yeah. So she does immediately like hop on the phone with boyfriend Tom to kind of let him know what happened that night before. Tom hones in on how much Jenny was drinking that caused her to throw up, which set off the whole series of events.
Right.
Which doesn't go over that well with Jenny because all she was doing was looking to get some sympathy. Her essentially getting into a physical fight with a roommate, but all he honed in on is...
Why are you drinking so much?
She's like, well, you're not my dad, so I'm going to drink and I'm going to have a good time. That's not why I was calling. The whole time, Mike is listening in on the conversation. He's dropping some eaves from the kitchen as he's making himself a sandwich. And I mean, to be fair, like, it's a valid point on Tom's part. Like, I would probably also be wondering the same thing. Like, why do you have to drink that much to the point where you can't control yourself and you go hitting people? But, that's not why she called him. She wanted a listening ear. She mentions again that she's considering leaving. And that's kind of where that conversation ends. So a little later... Mike is upstairs. He's talking with Sam and Ron, which is very interesting to me, like how often he returns
to those people who don't like him at all?
Yes, to the ones that he antagonizes so much in this house.
I think that might be a proximity thing because Mike's bed is in the room that Sam and Ronnie, or at least where Ronnie's bed was, I think, before, because they've got like two rooms, I think. They've got the guest room where they both sleep, and then they have their separate rooms as well. And if I remember right, I think it's Paulie, Mike, Sam who are in that room. So I think that might just be a thing where that's because it seems like it always happens in that room.
Yeah, the upstairs room.
So that's his kind of like maybe his little safe space where he can, right? Am I remembering that right at all?
For sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, you're 100. All that say, you're 100%. It's weird that he keeps on going back to Ronnie and Sam to talk about all this stuff.
Goes back to them to discuss like his feelings or he's annoyed at so and so or whatever. But then he stirs up drama between Sam and Ron.
Of course,
it's so odd to me. Anyways,
he loves to stir the pot. Mike's got a big old wooden stick and he's just in there. Stirring.
Yeah. Anyways, on this little chat, he's talking about how he's fed up with Vinny's smack talk.
Yeah.
He's, getting himself all worked up and hype. Sam tells him to relax and just advises him that he just needs to have a tougher skin. Like, don't let it get to you. She asks, like, does he say stuff directly to you? And he goes, well, no, but whenever I walk by him, I get this punk bitch look. And she's just rolling her eyes. He goes, if someone continues to talk shit, I'm gonna smack them. And to me, it seems like he's looking for a fight at this point because he couldn't get revenge by hitting Jenny back the night before. Like, he's just kind of looking to redeem his man card, I guess.
Yeah, he's still a little hung up on that and not having a real outlet for that. He seems to turn his attention towards Vinny as someone he can just kind of get that out of.
Yeah. So a little later that night, Vin and Polly meet up with 3 girls on the boardwalk. And to me, it looks like this is a pretty platonic relationship that they've got, friendship that they got.
Literal just hang out.
Yeah, it literally does not seem like they want a hookup by any means. Like, they just think these 3 girls are cool and they want to hang out, play some games on the boardwalk, whatever.
Yeah, they go on a ride. They go on a really fun ride.
It looks actually like they're having a lot of fun. So Polly apparently, though, this night had previous plans to hang out with Danielle on this evening.
Which, if you don't remember who Danielle is...
Okay, well, wow. You're bored already?
Just tired.
Dang.
If you don't remember who Danielle was, she is the Israeli girl who Polly meets. I believe it was at Karma. They seem to have a connection, kind of right. I don't want to say a close connection right off the bat, but they're like involved somehow with each other. And I was actually asking myself, like, why does Polly keep her around? Because he doesn't outright shoo her away.
Yeah.
When she just literally shows up out of nowhere. Polly makes a comment a little bit later on. He says he likes a challenge. So as we're talking about this, kind of keep that in mind. But so they're out there with these girls, and she just shows up like she's literally stalking him.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, like, Polly thinks that Danielle's annoying because she won't put out, so he's, like, not in the mood to see her on this particular night, even though they did have previous plans to hang out. So whatever, he's kind of blowing her off at this moment. So their little group is hanging out, they're playing the games, they're watching fireworks, riding the rides, and who do they run into but none other than Danielle? Polly goes, what a coincidence, she's there. She walks, like, awkwardly along with them and, like, makes sure that her and Polly are still good to hang out that night. And he tells her, you know, yes, we're gonna hang out. I will call you later whenever I get home. They kiss. A mouth kiss.
A mouth kiss, yeah.
And they part ways. Seems like, okay, that's over. All's good. Cut to Snooks is meeting up with everyone's favorite Irish cowboy, Farmer Keith.
Yeah, Keith. Farmer Keith makes another appearance.
We also met him, I believe, in the last episode. So he's wearing his signature gray tank top with the black ball cap, the baggy jeans, and the black T-shirt slung over the shoulder
puka
there.
shell necklace. The puka shell necklace is back in there.
The puka shells.
Man, I had a puka shell necklace growing up.
Oh, so did I.
Yeah, those were great.
Yeah. That was some nice early 2000s, mid 2000s.
Who doesn't like a good puka shell?
We're hanging out with Snooks and Cowboy Keith, and so they decide that they want to go dancing at Beachcombers. They're having fun. They're having a good time. Elsewhere on the boardwalk, Polly, Vin, and the 3 girls are getting henna tattoos, and who decides to sneak up on them but one? Danielle. A drink when we say the name Danielle.
Yeah, you're either be drunk or well hydrated by the end of this.
Yes, for sure. So
she comes up a lot.
Correct. So this is a good drinking game, alcoholic or not.
Yeah.
So she's just standing there, dude, like staring at him until finally, like, she like calls his name, like Polly, and he like looks up like he's seen a ghost.
He's stunned that
like
she's
stunned.
there. Yeah, he's like shocked.
And like so are we too. Like because she's just standing there.
You're
like
no way is she back again? We just saw her a couple of minutes ago.
Yeah.
But this time she doesn't come back empty-handed.
Well, she reaches into her bag for what could possibly be mace.
A gun?
Yeah, mace or worse.
Yeah, she's going to shoot Polly.
Yeah. And pulls out a T-shirt, which she tosses to him and says, "Don't say I never gave you something." What does the shirt say?
I love Israeli girls.
It says, "I heart Jewish girls." And in the heart, there's like a Star of David in Italian flag colors, red, white, and green.
Yeah.
She tells, not asks, tells him to call her as soon as he gets home. And she says, you know, "I'm not going to call you. You need to call me." He hesitantly agrees, and she kisses him Like she owns him.
Yeah.
Man.
It's like a wife kiss.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like we've been married for 14 years, and this is the kind of kiss that we give each other.
And Polly says, at this point, I'm starting to think she's a mad weird chick. She's mad weird, that chick.
Good impression, man. That's great. It's pretty solid.
You do it. You do it.
That I can't even. I don't want to even.
She's mad weird, that chick.
She's mad weird, that chick. I can't even. You got the little inflection down. That's pretty good. Danielle takes it to like a whole new level.
Yeah. Cut to Snooks and Cowboy Keith are walking down the boardwalk, and Snooks wants a piggyback ride.
Yeah.
So she hops up on Keith's back, and her butt is like instantly popping out from under her dress. So she has to like dismount because she's, quote, not trashy and doesn't want anyone seeing her goods, but she gives Keith permission to look. So
yeah, and he does. He has a great response. He's like, "Oh, okay," which is a response that most guys will give when they're caught off guard,
right?
And they don't have something cool to say. Like later on that night, he would have thought of something better to say to that, but in the moment, he was very caught off guard.
So try to keep up because we are cutting back and forth a lot between Snooks and Keith and then Polly and crew. So cut back to Polly. He is jumping on a ride with just a girl who is a friend, not a girlfriend. Let's just clarify again. As soon as they get off the ride, who is waiting for him but one? Danielle.
Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding. Yeah. Drink again. Polly goes, I couldn't believe it. I thought I was seeing things.
He really must have thought he was seeing things because a third time that she's just showing up after he was like, go.
She walks over to him and hugs him and asks like when he's going home, and then she starts questioning him about which of the three girls he likes, and he is so annoyed.
Which one do you like, the blonde, the
curly or the brunette or whatever? Yeah. He's just like, are you kidding me? Like, come on.
She's intense, man.
Yeah. I think it's a jealous girl thing.
Maybe she's been burned before in the past, or maybe she's always been that way. But
I don't know.
She's also dressed up kind of like a safari, like a zookeeper.
She's got like a brown polo shirt. All she needs is like the parrot on her shoulder.
Yeah, she looks like
your safari tour guide.
Steve Irwin.
So he tells her again, I will call you when I get home, like I told you already. She reluctantly walks away. The three girls at this point are creeped out by Danielle, like as they should be.
For sure.
So they decide to call it a night and the boys head home. No sooner does Vinny and Polly get home and the phone starts ringing, or rather, I should say like the duck starts quacking because it's a duck phone. Mm-hmm. And Polly immediately knows it's Danielle. Polly convinces Vinny to answer it, but to pretend that he's Mike. So Vinny happily obliges and like instantly blows his cover by saying Mike's not here whenever she answers or whenever she says hi.
He was just so focused in on Mike,
on doing the impression of Mike
in the forefront of his brain, and it just came out.
Yeah, it just came out. So he almost blows the cover, but he recovers pretty well, and she ends up buying it.
And I think that's mainly because Danielle's so focused on just talking to Polly that she just didn't even hear what he was saying.
Just, let it go. So Danielle, of course, is asking for Polly, and Vinny, as Mike, is trying to answer, her line of questioning, and eventually they hang up. Mission successful. Polly's dodged the stalker once again, but now he's also incredibly annoyed by her, so he decides to let her bury herself pretty much here. He's not going to call her, but she's going to keep calling him. They eventually have to take the phone off of the hook. And I also just wanted to take a minute here to explain why you would need to take a phone off the hook, because for all of you youngsters, you might not know how a landline works. And if you don't know what a landline is,
that's a type of phone
that us old people used to use.
That we used to use. It was connected to the wall. So if you didn't have a really long cable, you were not going to be able to have a private conversation anywhere.
Right.
They also came in many sizes, many shapes, many different kinds of features. I remember us having a hamburger phone.
Yeah, if you remember the feature film, Juno popularized the hamburger phone again.
Yeah, we had one of those bad boys.
We did.
Connected to the wall.
Yeah.
There was a very short period of time when we had both a landline and a cell phone. I'm trying to remember if I can remember the last four digits of our landline.
Ooh.
It's 8.
503.
8503. Or is that
Yeah.
the song?
8675309.
We had that landline for a really long time. I actually remember when we first got a cell phone. It was a Nokia, one of those brick Nokia, indestructible with the snake on it. We had one phone to just kind of use around the family. I'm pretty sure my dad didn't think that was going to really take off.
Well, I think Mom mostly needed it for work. She was and still is to this day a nurse. Yeah. And I think mostly she got it for use for the hospital to be able to call her. But, eventually we all kind of ended up using it here because we're talking about landlines.
Oh, yes. Landlines. yes.
And so landlines, you actually had to have your phone plugged into the wall in order for people to call your house.
Yes.
So in order to, let's say, fend off a stalker, in order to not have the phone ringing, what you would basically do is just take the receiver off of the hook.
Yeah, it would release the little button on there.
Release the button underneath.
And then it would be a busy signal.
And what you would get if you were the person calling to that house is a busy signal. So it would sound like maybe they're on the other line or the other person just took the phone off the hook.
And if you called enough time and got that same tone throughout the night, you would maybe get
know.
the hint.
Yeah, you would know. So there's no way you can reach the phone if the phone is off the hook.
Anyway.
It's a boring story.
Yeah, I mean, landlines are boring, man. That's why they don't exist anymore.
Also, that's how we dialed up to internet as well before Wi-Fi was a thing.
Yeah, you had that incredible little dial-up tone.
Do your dial-up tone.
Yeah. Slow. Couldn't do anything.
Cut to about 2 a.m. Mike and Vinny are up, they're chatting and eating in the kitchen. Mike decides that he wants to pull a prank on Snooks by pickling her room. They're basically like two little kids at this point as they're like hatching their plan and like slicing up the pickles. They're like giggling and joking.
Yeah.
You're smiling like you understand.
I get it. In college, we did very similar things. I got cheesed one time,
You got cheese.
Yeah. Just somebody put little piles of cheese all around the room. They got several of the rooms.
Interesting.
Stunk up the whole place. We did the protein shakes inside the vents. We bought
God.
we bought fish. We put that in closets.
Oh my God.
We let Halloween pumpkins rot in under people's beds and stuff. It was a great time. Yeah.
So Polly is supposed to be the one who like distracts her, although like they could have easily just covertly hid the pickles while she was sleeping because keep in mind it's 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Everyone in the house is pretty much asleep, but they decide to wake her up by asking her if she's sleeping.
Yeah. Yeah, they kind of gave it away.
She's like, go away. So Polly's trying to distract her. Mike is spreading like the full jar of pickles around her bed in the room. And then they slip out, laughing the whole way. So whatever, prank one done.
Yeah.
So now they're really awake and they're ready to cause some trouble. So who's the next target? Vinny, sound asleep. So Mike starts whipping up this disgusting concoction of it's pickle juice, it's grated cheese, milk, mayonnaise, and salad dressing, which just all like very pungent.
Yeah.
And they call it Haterade. It's a little spin-off of Gatorade.
Yeah.
Mike slips this bowl of this Haterade underneath Vinny's bed and they like call it a night. So the next morning, Vin wakes up to, quote, a weird smell in the house. Smells like old funk juice. The next morning, of course, there are flies buzzing around. He's like smelling all of his clothes to figure out where the stench is coming from. He's like looking all around to try and find it. Ron comes through with a can of Axe body spray and he says, your room smells like asshole. And I'm like thinking, Ron, if your butthole ever smells that bad, you've got a bigger problem on your hands, my dude. Snooks eventually wakes up and she ends up finding like two of the pickles kind of near the edge of her bed or like on her nightstand. And she's like more upset that they're now wasted, that she can't eat them and she has to throw them away. She takes the prank.
Yeah,
like,
whatever.
Like whatever.
Yeah, not that big a deal.
So later on, everyone is like finally up in the house. It looks like they're making like a late lunch or something. They're just hanging out. The phone starts ringing again because they put the receiver back on the hook again. Phone starts ringing again. Mike answers it. And of course, it's Danielle.
Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding. So she goes off on Polly. Polly finally decides to take the call. She basically is saying a lot. I feel stupid. I'm not the kind of girl you can do this to. I kissed you so many times and you didn't have the courtesy to call me last night. I don't need this. If you're not about it, then like we don't need to be doing this anymore. And like the whole time Polly's listening, but like at the same time he's snarkily interjecting, yeah. Is it my turn to talk? Like the whole time he's doing that to her. And when she's finally said her piece, he ends up laying into her.
Yeah, and probably the most emotional Paulie that we've seen at this point in the episode.
Probably the most words like I've ever heard him say in one sitting.
He gets pretty upset in this little moment, which is new for us to see.
Yeah, so, he ends up saying, you stalked my whole life on the boardwalk. I told you I would call you, but you kept calling here all night. We finally had to take the phone off of the hook. You're so worried about how you're going to look if, like, I'm seen walking around with another girl. You're worried about looking stupid. Well, now look how stupid you look. And click, he hangs up on her. And, of course, the roommates are hooting and hollering. Yeah. They just love it. So later, Sam and Mike are on shift at the Shore store, which... This scene came up and I was like, oh yeah, they do work at the Shore store, don't they? Because I feel like we haven't seen them at work in a while.
I thought the same exact thing. And I was like, oh, they still have jobs there. I guess it was just nothing really going on.
Right, exactly.
Worth showing.
So he's hitting on her again and he's like saying, you look cute in your little sweatshirt. And then like he upshifts his flirting by saying, well, she's the only one who really understands him in the house. And she's the only one besides Polly who he doesn't have a problem with, unlike Vinny. And now he feels like the need to disclose the haterade prank to her, which she oddly finds hilarious.
It feels like Sammy's getting attention at the moment and so just kind of wants to prolong that as much as possible because it's weird. It's like kind of comes out of left field. It's weird to see them. I mean, it's weird to see them interacting at all, knowing their history of everything. And Mike's all about it. And so it's weird to see Sammy encouraging that, or she just likes the drama that's being stirred up by
she likes
all this.
That she's getting some like exclusive
inside information
that no one else knows.
And Mike is more than willing to dish out what he's doing. It's like rule number one, dude, on a prank. Don't talk about your prank, man.
Anyone. Like the secret for sure, like fully would have been safe with Polly. Yeah. That prank would have gone on through the end of the season. Yeah. If he had not told anyone. So back at the house, the roommates are piling into taxis to go bowling at Ocean Lanes, which according to my brief investigation is still open.
Nice.
Kind of neat. So on the way over to the bowling alley, Sam immediately, like they just got into this taxi and immediately.
Yeah, door closes.
Vinny.
I got something to tell you.
She basically discloses that Mike was the culprit behind the haterade prank. And she tells him she says, like, don't let on that you know, and definitely don't say that it was me that told you. So he laughs it off in this moment, but you can tell he's irked.
Yeah.
He's irked to find out.
For sure.
Which he probably should have figured that it had something to do with Mike.
Yeah, I mean,
but he couldn't find it though. At this point, he still didn't know what was causing it. So
it was maybe one of those things of like someone's either pulled one on me or something's just funky.
Something's happening.
We gotta take care of.
An exterminator, maybe something.
Calling the Ghostbusters.
Plumbing. At the bowling alley, there's palpable tension between Mike and Jenny, and they end up slipping outside to talk about what had happened that night in AC when she punched him. And they, rehash the whole night from both of their perspectives, and they eventually hug it out. It seems like all is forgiven.
Yeah.
And, that's all she wrote.
Again, I mean, Mike is good about those quick fixes. Obviously, this isn't something that's going to last for a real long time, but Mike is good at squashing whatever's going on to just give himself some time.
I thought that this was one of those things that never got resolved, which is why the tension between Jen and Mike continue on through to the next season.
And again, it's a quick fix.
It's a Band-Aid.
It's not over.
Yeah.
But it's it's lessened.
Well, so that's the end of this night. I guess bowling wasn't really all that great because that's the last of the footage we get
it's
from
bowling.
the bowling alley. So anyways, back at the house, Vinny finds the bowl of haterade and he ends up moving it under Mike's bed stealthily. And, he ends up bringing Mike over to show him that he knows about the prank. And he found the bowl. Mm-hmm. He's not angry. He likes a good practical joke. And him and Mike are kind of going back and forth, making jabs at each other about it.
Oh, he's angry.
You think?
Yes,
well,
for sure.
He's claiming not to be angry.
Which is exactly what an angry person would say once they've been pranked. I thought he was angry.
Mike is so proud, too, of, what he's accomplished here that, at one point, he even brags that there was no retaliation on Vinny's part because, Vinny knows it was a good prank. That's why he's not going to do anything back. But little does Mike realize the retaliation's already happened. So a little later, the guys are having a candid conversation again upstairs in their room with Mike about why Vinny doesn't like him and basically why all the roommates are starting to dislike Mike. Vinny is he's being very honest and upfront about it, and Ron even says something interesting too, along the lines of, Mike, you've changed. The person I met on day one is not who you are now. Just be you. I don't know what this character is that you're morphing into a douchebag.
Which is an interesting point of view because then on the total opposite end of that, Paulie is amazed that they would be saying these things because he's been the same exact person that I met when we first got here. So I don't really know what they're talking about.
Mike is taking all of this as a personal attack too, by the way.
Of course.
So
How can you not take it as a personal attack? They're talking about all the negative things about his personality.
Come on. They're being honest with him. They're being candid.
Yeah,
so basically, he doesn't like whenever people talk about him behind his back, but he also doesn't like when people just tell him to his face. Yeah. So you just can't win with this guy.
No, you can't win with that guy.
No matter what.
No, you can't win with Mike.
I thought it was interesting too, though, that Paulie did not agree with Ron and Vinny on that. But you're right. You're totally right.
Yeah, I mean, Mike has a different relationship with Paulie than he does with everyone else.
I'm not sure why the conversation shifts to the fact that Mike is still creeping on Sam. Of course, he denies it. And then Sam pipes up from under her covers because she's in this conversation, but she's in bed, hiding under her covers as usual.
Nice little surprise that you didn't know that she was there.
she just pops her head up and she just goes, she puts an end to this whole conversation, basically. She's just I don't care, whatever. Yeah, I had a thing for you in the beginning, Mike, but please get over it. Stop doing whatever it is you're doing. I'm over it. I'm done with this conversation.
Yeah.
So that's the end of that.
That's the end of that.
So that night, they're at Karma, and everyone's hanging out, they're dancing, and who do you know is there but one Danielle.
Yep.
Ding, ding, ding. She immediately finds Paulie.
She slinks out of the shadows.
Yeah, and starts accusing him of embarrassing her, and he keeps asking her to dance. He's trying to she's you embarrassed me,
You want to dance?
No, I don't want to dance. You embarrassed me. You made me look.
Hey, you want to go dance?
No, I don't want to dance. You made me look stupid.
He's laughing and stuff.
But she's also not going away either, so she's loving this. Elsewhere in the club, Snooks is all over some random guy. And they're making out. Snook's dress is riding up so far that they have to blur her nether regions out.
Yeah.
And then two other girls come up to them and demand that this guy stops what he's doing because he has a girlfriend. And she's there, and she's watching them from across the club. So Snooks, of course, is pissed off, and she runs away screaming, "Get me the F out of Seaside."
Yeah.
Anyways, cut back to Danielle and Paulie, who are still going back and forth as to whether or not they should break up. Question mark?
Don't know. This is the point, I think, when Paulie says he likes the challenge of this whole thing, which made me make sense as to why he's letting this continue.
Well, she keeps asking him, do you really like me? And he sheepishly nods his head, and they end up leaving the club early together. So Paulie again claims that he just likes the challenge she's putting up for him. And it was at this point that I realized that I wasn't convinced. And to me, it seemed like there may have been a lot more to this relationship than what we've been led to believe by the show. So what I ended up finding out, and again, this is coming from her in, wherever she posted it or they did an interview with her after the fact or whatever to find out what actually went on between them. So according to her, she actually claims that they did have more of a relationship than what was shown on the show. And that Polly actually did pursue her a lot harder than just a regular hookup. Almost to the point where, like, meeting her family and all of that. Like,
Are
he
you
was
serious?
saying for real things about them being a couple.
No
according
way.
to her.
But she might be a liar.
She could be a liar, but why would she be acting that? Like, why would she keep saying, you're making me look stupid? Like, why are you being this way? Why would he continue in this thing unless he actually did have a thing for her? As soon as he nodded his head when she said, do you really like me? And he goes,
It was a real nod.
He looked sincere, and that's what tipped me off. I was like, there's something more going on here than what we're seeing.
Maybe that was a very conscious thing that the producers did in the edit of the episode to make this girl seem way crazier than maybe in reality she is. So maybe she's reacting to all this appropriately given their history.
Yes.
But the way that it's presented to us is
a stalker situation.
that she's a stalker.
And that's exactly what she said. She has a huge beef with the show production because of how they made her look in the show.
They don't make her look great.
No, it's not good at all. And it's super embarrassing. Like, that's why she keeps saying, you're embarrassing me. Like, stop doing this. Why are you being like a double life kind of a guy?
Interesting.
So yeah, she had a huge beef against the show for doing that.
That's fair. That's fair if it's true, but there's really no way to substantiate that other than finding Danielle, who's going to be on the show next week.
Hey!
Hey, maybe we should try to track her down. You dig up that dirt, maybe you can find some contact information.
Okay.
If anyone out there knows Danielle from Jersey Shore season 1, let us know, because we'd love to talk to her.
The rest of the roommates end up leaving the club, but not before Snooks grabs a last-minute hookup on the way out. And he's like this freakishly tall cross between Machine Gun Kelly and like an Italian Eminem.
Mm-hmm. He has the thinnest little chin strap outlined beard that you've ever seen.
Yeah.
He looks like he works at Olive Garden and that he hates it. He looks like he's smoking a J right before he walks on into the establishment there to serve some people some breadsticks.
Right.
Hey, Olive Garden has some pretty good soup.
Yeah. Are they the ones that do the bread bowls where the soup comes in the big bread roll?
I believe that's Domino's.
Olive Garden has the Limitless soup and salad. Is that what it is?
Yeah, endless soup and salad. This episode has been brought to you by Olive Garden. We want you to eat our breadsticks. They are good for you. They're good for business, and they're good for the economy. Come on in with your family. You'll have some peach wine, an Italian margarita. Be good for you. Be good for the family. It's just like Mama Olive Garden they used to make.
Mamma mia.
Authentic Italian food. That's probably a lie, huh?
We really need to stop saying we're sponsored by people who we're not sponsored by, because I'm pretty sure we're gonna get something happen.
Hey, you throw enough. Hey, you cast a wide net. Eventually, you're gonna pull some fish in, or a sponsorship deal from Olive Garden.
All of their marketing people, all these people who were saying they sponsor us, they're gonna be like, who sent this press kit out? Like, who's responsible? This is not our content.
And how is this on my desk?
Who are these jokesters? Where did they come from?
But I mean, I'm just saying.
Who wrote this copy?
We've got a don'tcallmeshirley@gmail.com if you want to hit us up for some sponsorship deals.
Biz inquiries only.
Look, we'll sling out whatever you want us to, as long as there's some breadsticks involved.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to throw that out there.
We work for cheap. In fact, we work for free now.
We work for breadsticks, yeah.
Okay, before we get too far off the beaten path here, let's get back to what we're talking about.
Yes.
Because it's about to get real good here.
Mm-hmm.
So on the walk home, the group, or like more specifically Snooki, is getting heckled by some random people in the street.
Because of the outfit that she's wearing?
Yes.
Do you want to talk a little bit about the outfit,
okay,
sis?
So what they're yelling exactly is they're yelling like, go back to New Jersey, go back to New York, wherever it is you're from. You're dressed like a whore. Why is she in her Halloween costume? This is some of the things that they're yelling out. they're really just being nasty. It's really unfortunate. So to clarify though, like Snooks is wearing what looks to be a lingerie corset thingy.
It's black.
It's black. It's hot pink
outlines.
It does look kind of inappropriate to be wearing this like as your main outfit. But Snooks herself like says in her own words she doesn't care. Like she knew she looked slutty this night and she was okay with that. Like that's the kind of vibe she was going for. So
mission
like
accomplished.
Whatever. I mean whatever.
Hey,
like,
girls gotta live. Do what you gotta do. You do
who
you,
is
girl.
it bothering? You know, like it was just...
apparently those people who are from the better side of New York. What is this New York, New Jersey beef?
I don't know.
That must be a real thing. Because Jersey Shore is close enough to where I guess those people that's where they would mingle if they're all together.
You can take the subway down. Like it's an easy drive, I think, to get between these states. So like, I don't know what this territorial beef is.
They just got they got something going on.
I don't know. And again, like I think this really goes back to if you're out, you're drunk, you see a bunch of idiots walking around with cameras pointed at them.
You're gonna say something.
And big security guys following them. Like I guess just to get your 15 minutes of fame, you'll say something to get in the footage or whatever. It works.
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately, so one of the random guys in this other group like starts cursing at Ron, and before we know it, both groups are mixed on the sidewalk, and everyone's like getting in each other's faces. It's so chaotic. You can't really even tell like who's who in this footage anymore. Like you're just getting a lot of backs of heads. You're getting like tops of heads because the cameramen are like holding the cameras up above the crowd at this point.
There are so many people involved in this scuffle.
Yes.
Yeah, there must have been like what 20 people.
Yeah, from both like crews, the Jersey Shore crew and then these random people in the street. So the production security team ends up tackling this random guy to the ground. So he's subdued. He's not a problem anymore. They all keep walking home together. So somehow this original guy gets loose from security and like comes back at Ron and the group. And as soon as Ron hears him coming up behind them, he spins around and like takes off running to fight this kid because that guy goes, "Hey, you kid, come back here." And as soon as Ron hears that, he's like gone. Off. He ran so fast that the film crew couldn't even keep up with him. So the next footage that we see is Ron side hopping away with a smile on his face, and he's saying, "That's one shot, kid." And he's like super proud of himself in this moment. And then next thing we see is this random guy laying face down out cold on the pavement. And like, if you didn't know any better, you would think that he was dead. He's not moving. Yeah,
to put it into a little bit of context here, Ron runs so fast and hits that guy so hard that the cameramen don't even see that happen.
We don't get it caught on camera that he's actually been hit by Ron.
We see the tail end of that, and we see Ron running away, and we see the guy out cold on the boardwalk.
Yeah, so Ron walks back to his own group up ahead, and then we start hearing the police sirens going off, and like immediately Ron knows he's in trouble. Yeah. Like he gets that look in his eyes, like,
he's
oh
looking,
man.
looking straight ahead. He's not looking around.
Don't make eye contact.
Don't make the big scene, guys. Just keep on walking.
He tells everyone, just keep walking. Let's head home.
Act like nothing happened.
The cops end up, of course, stopping the whole group, and they single out Ron.
They're like, hey, they call him out by name. They're like, hey, Ronnie.
They know him. Yeah. They know him. They're like, Ronnie, get over here. Come on,
bud.
Like,
come on, we've already been through this.
Like, we've been through this. You can't just punch people and knock them out cold.
You can't just do it one shot, bud.
One shot.
You gotta give him a chance.
So they're getting his side of the story, and he's claiming that it was self-defense because the guy wouldn't leave him alone. You know, the cops are saying because Ron knocked this guy out cold that they have to take him in. So he's done. He's arrested, and the roommates eventually make it home in shock at what has just happened, that Ronnie's gone. Like, he's in jail. Yeah. And that's how the episode ends.
There's a lot. Yeah, there's a whole lot. After this whole season of Ronnie getting into fight after fight, this is the one that finally does him in, and we don't even get to see it.
Yeah, we missed the actual knockout.
I would have liked to see that punch because Ronnie was running. He must have like Superman punched him like just into oblivion.
Yeah. We do eventually see the guy moving, so he was okay, I imagine.
He gets up like with his head still on the ground, but his butt's like up in the air. Like
you can see like the little birds spinning around in a circle. Like around his head. He's so disoriented.
Yeah, it's a little disappointing that we don't get to see the connecting hit after all the punches that we have seen in the past. Like this is kind of the one that I was the most interested in seeing.
It would be pretty damning evidence though if they had caught that on film, like against Ronnie. I mean, to have that evidence.
That's true, but in the footage I don't see a cameraman even close to that except for the lead cameraman who's running up. So I honestly don't think they even got it on footage. Like, so there's no evidence.
Though. It would be pretty damning
evidence to turn over to the fuzz.
But then again, production security was on scene because you do see a quick glimpse of them like standing over the guy who just got knocked out to make sure that he was okay. So, I mean, I don't know. He was out. Have you ever been knocked out?
Yeah.
You have?
Yeah.
What does it feel like?
Like it feels like well, it was when I played soccer. I got knocked out a couple of times whenever I played soccer.
A couple of soccer balls to the head?
No, feet.
Oh, nice.
Because because I played goalie and I wasn't the fastest goalie ever. I probably wasn't even a great goalie, but
I don't know who let you in that net.
This is what we had to work with. So I played really aggressively in that I would charge people when they got into my little box that I was allowed to move around in. I would just go at them because I knew I wasn't probably going to be able to save it at the net.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of diving in front of people's feet.
Yeah.
So many times I got hit in the face and kind of knocked out. One that really stands out to me is one time I was running up to the edge of the box to catch a ball. Whoever had kicked that ball continued the kick right into my sternum. And I remember my hands grasping on the ball. I remember a very brief moment of pain. And then the next thing I remember, I woke up on the sidelines. It was weird because I just lost a little bit of time. I didn't really know what was going on.
Nice. Wild episode. Another episode where we're almost at the tail end.
Yeah.
Which is still blowing my mind that we only have one more like true episode.
Yeah,
it's bumming me out kind of.
We're at the end of season 1.
Wow, we've almost done it. Let's not celebrate just yet. And we've got hopefully some fun things planned for kind of like our season finale here. So we won't reveal any of our surprises, but
it's going to be good though.
It'll be good though. Yeah. You'll enjoy it. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram. We are at Macaroni Rascals Podcast on Insta. I am at Christy.a.Brian, Christy with a Y, Brian with a Y. Steve, what are you?
You can find me on Instagram at Steven Lizarraga. That's STEPHENLIZARRAGA.
Nice. You can find our podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Spotify, Apple, Google, Anchor, Overcast. Pretty much wherever you get podcasts, you can find our podcasts.
That's
so
right.
Make sure to tell your friends, leave us a review.
Anyway, I guess that's going to do it for us. Sis, you have any closing remarks? Anything we need to be on the lookout for? Anything like that?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either. It's a relatively concise episode. And so with that, we're going to leave it right there.
This is fun. Let's keep going.
Yeah,
one more episode.
I was going to say something.
All right. Steve is going to go take a nap.
Been a long day. Anyway, all right, guys. Well, thanks so much for listening to this episode. We'll see you on the next one.
We love y'all.
We love you. Bye.
Bye.